best of both worlds. Nobody talks about that.
Nobody talks about this shit.
Nobody talks about that project.
That swept that smooth under the rug.
Why?
And we do have some breaking news that we want to bring to you. It was being reported by TMZ and now Fox News. We are learning that Jay-Z is accused of raping a 13-year-old girl. That is new in the Diddy lawsuit.
The entertainment world has been shaken to its core. Just when we thought we'd seen it all, the unthinkable happened. Beyonce, the queen of composure and one of the most powerful figures in global pop culture, is reportedly distancing herself from her longtime partner and collaborator, Jay-Z. The catalyst, a bombshell leak of court evidence that has not only dragged Jay-Z further into the swirling storm surrounding Diddy, but also sent shockwaves through their shared empire. For years, this power couple has been the epitome of unity, their combined image as untouchable as their wealth. But now, cracks in their fortress are becoming impossible to ignore. And what's pouring out is darker than anyone could have imagined.
If you're a halfway intelligent person, when do you start questioning how lucky some keep getting?
Right.
Let's start with this. Jaguar Wright, a name that has become synonymous with calling out what's hidden in plain sight, is back in the headlines, and she's not holding anything back. In a recent interview with Piers Morgan, she made allegations that could potentially redefine how we view not just Jay-Z and Beyonce, but the entire infrastructure of power in the entertainment industry. Jaguar claims to have direct access to victims ready to testify against the Carters. Not just Jay-Z, but Beyonce as well. According to her, this isn't just about one-off incidents or bad decisions. No, Jaguar says this is systemic, calculated behavior. Her words, they're a nasty little couple. They do nasty things. It's chilling, isn't it? The kind of statement that makes you wonder, what exactly does she know? And more importantly, how much worse does this get?
This morning, rap mogul Jay-Z is denying allegations he assaulted a 13-year-old girl alongside rapper Sean Diddy Combs. That civil lawsuit filed against Combs in October was amended Sunday to include Jay-Z. The accuser, identified only as Jane Doe, says she was actually assaulted by both men.
But here's where the story takes a turn that no one saw coming. During federal raids on Diddy's properties, already headline-grabbing events on their own, authorities reportedly uncovered footage that has left even seasoned investigators stunned. This isn't just about Diddy anymore. This is about the people in his orbit, the ones who attended his infamous gatherings and the roles they may have played behind closed doors. And Jay-Z's name, it's apparently all over the evidence. Some sources suggest that Diddy, feeling betrayed by the Carters' lack of public support during his legal troubles, may have intentionally leaked damaging material to authorities. If true, this isn't just a legal battle. It's a calculated move in a high-stakes game of revenge. And Beyonce, she's reportedly furious, not just at the exposure, but at what it could mean for her meticulously crafted image.
In a blistering statement, Jay-Z accuses Jane Doe's attorney of trying to blackmail him. He said further, quote, "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree?"
For Beyonce, the timing couldn't be worse. For months, she's remained silent, watching from the sidelines as the allegations against Diddy snowballed. While her husband's name was whispered in circles of speculation, she stayed focused on her own projects, her brand, her legacy. But the latest revelations have made it clear, silence is no longer an option. According to insiders, she's taking immediate steps to distance herself, not just emotionally, but legally and financially. Her team is reportedly working overtime to ensure that her empire remains untouchable. Even if Jay-Z's name continues to be dragged through the mud, and the urgency of these moves, it's telling. Beyonce isn't just protecting her brand, she's protecting herself from what could be the biggest scandal of her career.
I want to start with just the statement from Jay-Z, which is so forceful in its denial. I just read a teeny part of it, it's long, where he says that they should file a criminal complaint. Is that even possible at this point?
Now, let's talk about the court evidence that sparked this firestorm. Among the materials reportedly leaked are security logs and testimonies that placed Jay-Z at multiple gatherings hosted by Diddy, gatherings that prosecutors allege were far from innocent. Witnesses have come forward describing these events as highly orchestrated operations where boundaries were blurred and power dynamics were exploited. And Jay-Z, he wasn't just a casual attendee, according to these accounts. He was a fixture. More than that, there are whispers that he wasn't just observing, but actively participating in the activities that are now under federal scrutiny. Whether that's true or not remains to be seen, but the optics alone are devastating. This isn't a tabloid rumor. This is evidence, submitted in a court of law, and it's enough to make even Beyonce, who has stood by Jay-Z through public infidelity and private turmoil, consider her next steps very carefully. And then there's the woman at the center of one of the most explosive allegations yet. The plaintiff who claims Jay-Z and Diddy violated her when she was just a teenager. Her identity remains a closely guarded secret for her own safety and privacy. But her case is already being described as a landmark moment. A federal judge recently ruled that she can remain anonymous, despite aggressive efforts by Jay-Z's legal team to force her into the spotlight. The judge didn't hold back in criticizing those tactics, calling them a waste of judicial resources and an inappropriate attempt to derail the case. This ruling is a win for the plaintiff, but a significant blow to Jay-Z's defense, which has relied heavily on challenging her credibility. And if the allegations are true, then this isn't just a legal issue for Jay-Z, it's a moral reckoning that could redefine his legacy forever.
I want to start with just the statement from Jay-Z, which is so forceful in its denial. I just read a teeny part of it, it's long, where he says that they should file a criminal complaint. Is that even possible at this point?
But let's not forget the bigger picture here. Beyoncé's own actions, or lack thereof, are now under scrutiny. For years, she has been the silent, poised queen of the music industry, her image carefully curated to project strength, independence, and perfection. But in this moment, her silence is starting to look less like strength and more like complicity. How much did she know about the allegations against her husband? How long has she known? And why is she only now taking steps to distance herself? These are the questions that fans, critics, and industry insiders are asking. And while her team scrambles to protect her image, the court of public opinion is already weighing in. Some are calling her a victim of circumstance, trapped in a relationship with a man whose past is catching up to him. Others are less forgiving, suggesting that her silence over the years makes her complicit in whatever may come to light.
Civil complaint, simply allegations, needs to be proven in a court of law, but if true, it could rise to the level of criminality, and, we'll see what happens or if the DA looks and investigates.
The fallout is spreading far beyond the Carter's household. Industry insiders are reportedly bracing for more revelations, more names, and more evidence. The entertainment world is a small one, and the circles that Diddy, Jay-Z, and Beyoncé move in are even smaller. If the allegations are true, this isn't just about one man or one couple. This is about an entire system of power and privilege that has allowed these behaviors to go unchecked for decades. And if Beyoncé, one of the most powerful women in the world, is taking steps to protect herself, what does that say about what's coming next? What does she know that we don't?
So what happens now is this is simply a civil complaint. And in a civil complaint, it goes through the technical legal process. Now, the distinction, Jessica, between civil and criminal, of course, is that civil is for monetary damages, right? The system can only reward you with money. There's allegations that this 13-year-old is suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, suffered depression, etc. So now you go to fact-finding.
And then there's the question of loyalty. For years, Jay-Z and Beyoncé have presented themselves as a united front, weathering every storm together. But if Beyoncé is indeed distancing herself, as reports suggest, then we're witnessing the unraveling of one of the most iconic partnerships in modern history. This isn't just a personal decision. It's a strategic one. Beyoncé knows that her brand, her legacy, and her future are on the line. And in a world where perception is everything, she can't afford to let Jay-Z's legal troubles become her own. But make no mistake, this isn't over. The evidence against Jay-Z is still unfolding, and the implications for Beyoncé are only just beginning to take shape. The Carters have built an empire on the foundation of their partnership, and if that foundation crumbles, the ripple effects will be felt far and wide. The entertainment industry is watching, the public is waiting, and the stakes couldn't be higher. What's clear is that the story is far from over. In fact, it's only just beginning.
Interesting, because obviously this civil suit was coming for a while. Yep. And there was some talk between Busby and Jay-Z's lawyers. I think both Busby and Jay-Z's lawyers are really alphas.
And here's where the rabbit hole gets even deeper. Because while Beyoncé is meticulously disentangling herself from the chaos, the question nobody wants to ask out loud is echoing louder and louder. How much of this did she really not know? And if she knew, how long has she been strategically quiet? The court filings, the testimonies, the damning evidence. These aren't whispers in the wind anymore. They're thunderclaps. And the Carters are right in the heart of the storm. But here's the thing. Beyoncé's silence may not just be about protecting herself. It could be about protecting secrets that are too volatile, too explosive to ever see the light of day. Let's talk about Jay-Z's alleged involvement in what prosecutors are now calling a meticulously organized network of influence. The court documents don't just paint him as a passive participant in these gatherings. They suggest something far more deliberate. Multiple testimonies describe him as a key figure, someone whose presence lent credibility to events that, according to investigators, were designed to blur moral and legal boundaries. And while his legal team has been quick to dismiss these claims, calling them a fabrication, the sheer volume of evidence is making it harder and harder to spin this narrative. Security logs place him at multiple locations under investigation. Witnesses have come forward with chillingly similar accounts, describing an atmosphere where power was wielded like a weapon and where saying no wasn't always an option. If even a fraction of these claims hold up, the implications are staggering, not just for Jay-Z, but for everyone who stood by and let it happen.
the goods to do it. You know, a lot of times lawsuits are like playing poker. Like even when you feign, you know, that you have strength, it could be that you have some weakness in your case. So Busby's never going to say that he doesn't have the evidence. I mean, Busby's always going to say he's got the evidence. He's always going to say, oh, we're going to look at multiple other people, we're going to do all this, because he wants to put that fear into that individual.
But what's making this even more complicated is the sudden appearance of digital correspondence allegedly tying Jay-Z to some of the gatherings now under investigation. Emails, text chains, even scheduling logs have reportedly emerged, showing his name linked to event planning discussion. While his team has brushed off the messages as innocuous, prosecutors are reportedly zeroing in on them as evidence of deeper involvement. One email, dated months before one of the now infamous gatherings, reportedly mentioned arranging travel for specific individuals, a detail that investigators claim matches testimonies from witnesses. If these communications are authenticated, they could shift the narrative entirely, casting Jay-Z not just as an attendee, but as someone actively involved in the logistics.
Even if the statute of limitations ran, it doesn't stop her from filing a police report. It doesn't stop her from giving a statement to the police. It still backs up some things. And don't forget, in federal court, he could still be swept up into a RICO. There could be other sorts of actions that took place over time, and all of those would relate back.
And then there's the unsettling matter of footage reportedly seized during the raid on Diddy's properties. While much of it remains sealed under court order, insiders claim some of the clips show high-profile attendees in compromising situations, moments that paint a troubling picture of what went on at these events. Jay-Z's name has been repeatedly mentioned in connection to this footage, though his legal team is working overtime to prevent its release. What's particularly damning, sources say, is that the footage aligns with testimony from several plaintiffs, potentially corroborating their claims. If this material is ever made public, it could spell disaster, not just for Jay-Z, but for anyone seen or heard in those clips.
We intend to name people in these lawsuits. We're not going to do it in interviews. We're not going to do it, without doing our due diligence, because obviously, these types of allegations are.
Meanwhile, whispers of potential whistleblowers are growing louder. Multiple former staff members who worked at venues linked to these gatherings have reportedly come forward, some offering detailed accounts of what they witnessed. These individuals, many of whom worked security or event coordination, are said to be cooperating with investigators in exchange for immunity. Their stories, if true, paint a picture of events that were meticulously planned with layers of secrecy and control. And while the focus remains on Diddy and Jay-Z, the involvement of other high-profile names is becoming hard to ignore. Each new testimony reveals another thread in a web that seems to stretch further than anyone initially imagined. But let's not forget Diddy's role in all of this. The man who once called himself a bad boy for life seems to be living up to that reputation in ways nobody could have predicted. His alleged decision to hand over incriminating material involving Jay-Z has sparked a frenzy of speculation. Why now? Why Jay-Z? And most importantly, what else does he have? Because if there's one thing Diddy has proven over the years, it's that he knows how to play the long game. Some insiders believe this is his way of dragging down anyone who didn't come to his defense as his own empire crumbled. Others think it's a calculated move to deflect attention from his own actions. But whatever his motives, the fallout is undeniable. The entertainment industry is now on high alert, with whispers that more tapes, more names, and more allegations are on the way.
Thought Diddy would be throwing all his celebrity mates under the bus.
I mean, that could potentially be coming when it's time for court and when it's time for him to testify. But what we're seeing right now is how important public relations really are to Sean Combs. He's desperately trying to control the narrative behind bars, allowing his attorneys to do documentaries.
And then there's the matter of Kathy White. Her name has resurfaced like a ghost from the past, haunting Jay-Z in ways he probably thought were buried forever. The journalist who first broke the story years ago has resurfaced with new claims, suggesting that her untimely exit wasn't just a tragic coincidence, but something far more sinister. And while Jay-Z's team has categorically denied any involvement, the timing of her reappearance in the narrative can't be ignored. Diddy's alleged cooperation with investigators has only added fuel to the fire, with some suggesting he's using Kathy's story as a bargaining chip. And here's the kicker. Jaguar Wright has hinted that Beyonce might not be as innocent in this as we've all been led to believe. Could she have played a role in keeping the story buried? Could her anger at Jay-Z now be less about what he's done and more about what's finally coming to light? And let's not overlook the broader implications of this scandal. This isn't just about Jay-Z or Diddy. This is about an entire industry built on power, privilege, and silence. The unsealed documents have already implicated several high-profile names, and insiders say this is just the beginning. Meek Mill, Jennifer Lopez, Usher. These are just some of the figures whose names have been whispered in connection to the ongoing investigations. And while none of them have been formally accused of wrongdoing, the mere association is enough to tarnish reputations and raise eyebrows. The entertainment world is holding its breath, waiting to see who will be named next, and the tension is palpable.
I came here today just to tell the truth, so hopefully we can get down to the bottom of this. I'm 100%, the charges against me are 100% false, and hopefully due to time, we'll start to see that.
Back to Beyonce, though. Her recent moves suggest a woman on a mission, not just to protect herself, but to rewrite the narrative entirely. She's reportedly been in talks with her legal team about revisiting her prenup, a move that insiders say is less about money and more about optic. By formalizing a separation, be it legal, financial, or symbolic, she's sending a clear message. I am not going down with this ship. And her recent solo appearances, those aren't just about promoting her brand. They're about reclaiming her identity, about reminding the world that she's more than just Jay-Z's wife. But the question remains, is it too little, too late?
In her civil lawsuit, Cassie said that she was the victim of abuse, assault, and rape at the hands of Diddy.
And then there's the public. Fans who once idolized the Carters are now divided. Some are rallying around Beyonce, hailing her as a victim of circumstance. Others are less forgiving, accusing her of turning a blind eye for the sake of her empire. Social media is ablaze with debates, conspiracy theories, and calls for accountability. Hashtags calling for justice are trending, and the story shows no signs of fading from the headlines. If anything, the public's appetite for answers is only growing. As for Jay-Z, his empire is on shaky ground. Roc Nation, the music label he built from the ground up, is reportedly facing internal turmoil. Staff morale is said to be at an all-time low, with employees questioning their future in the wake of the scandal. And while Jay-Z has managed to weather storms before, this feels different. This feels like a reckoning, the kind of reckoning that could bring even a giant like him to his knees. But here's the thing. This story isn't just about the Carters. It's about the culture of silence that has allowed people in power to operate without consequence for far too long. It's about the complicity of an industry that has turned a blind eye to bad behavior in the name of profit. And it's about the reckoning that's finally coming.
You said we are not done and that Combs did not do this alone. Do you foresee that there could be other charges related to this case?
I'm not taking anything off the table.
So, what do you think? Are we witnessing the fall of one of the most powerful couples in entertainment history? Or is this just another chapter in their never-ending saga of reinvention? Let us know your thoughts down below. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.